everyone. I thought I'd do a little look that I did at work last week. I had a really lovely option to go away with a client of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time, Miss Kylie Minogue. And we went to Paris and I looked after her while she went to various fashion shows and fittings, etc. And not that I'm going to sort of copy that look, but I'm going to kind of show you how we did a very kind of simple eye that photographed really beautifully. But I don't have a wall of paparazzi in front of me and big light bulb. So I'm just going to give you a few little tips, including this little tool that I found. Have any of you come across this? So this is a tool to help you put your eyeliner on. So you place that either side, underneath your eye, following the shape of your eye. And I guess you can change the balance and you put it on as like a stencil. So I thought we'd give that a go. I've never used anything like this before, but I thought it might be quite nice for the film. Do you think my skin looks a lot less red? That must be the Aurelia in action. Anyway, making it calmer. So I'm going to start with my Shiseido Synchro Glow Skin, and my shade, this pale, is Golden 3. I'm normally Golden 4. But I just want to get lots and lots of coverage. I don't notice what is going on with my face here. Looks like I've been whacked somewhere. I'm not sure. I went to a Bikram yoga class this morning. I burst a few blood vessels. It is this time in winter, isn't it, that you've got like a sore eye here from like a drippy eye from walking around in the cold. Probably burst a few blood vessels at Bikram. I've got a snotty, drippy nose. I mean, really, God, slightly unattractive. Bring on the daffodils, that's what I say. Come on, ladies. Rise above the ground, spread your roots, move that soil and bring us into spring. We're nearly there. Anyway, after that little tirade, I'm going to whack this into my skin. I actually might do 2.5 pumps. Really go mad, just to give a really beautiful velvet finish to my skin. Also, because I'm wearing quite a pale colour, and I do like to wear a pop of colour, but I just wanted the makeup to show. Kylie was obviously wearing a beautiful Mugler dress in black, but I didn't feel like black. I felt like black might just literally be the end of my day. Too much. Takes the life out of you sometimes, doesn't it? I'm not in the mood for it. And also it's the day. So I wanted to get a nice perfected base for you all. Let me just use my beauty pie. What do they call this brush? It's the definer, I think. Oh, this is the angled cheek brush. Literally picked up the wrong one. Whatever brush you need to use, this is a really nice one because it's dense enough not to pick up too much makeup, but light enough to keep it on my skin and just kind of blend it in, especially around the fine hairs. Probably need to do some dermaplaning soon. Right, so let me just do the skin first. So this is the 010. I'm going to use the Facefinity rather than the hyaluronic one that I've been using a lot on, because I really want it to be kind of quite a clean finish under my eyes. And again, I've overdone that quite a lot. There was quite a lot on that doe foot. I'm glad that I've been doing this for a long time, because I'm sure if this was my first film, lots of you would have tuned out by now, thinking, God, is she a professional? Right, I know I've put too much on, so I'm taking it out to my temples where I really need the coverage. And the great thing about the Facefinity concealer is that it's light, but it stays put. And it really conceals without kind of making the under eye area of my skin really parched and sort of dehydrated looking. So I'm going to use, just with the warmth of my finger, again, always patting and just dragging it. I'm dragging it down to that sort of other area that is red in my face, and just very delicately working it in. Never panic with your concealer. The more that you can leave it on your skin just to kind of settle in, you can see how it just slowly, well, you can see how slowly my eyes get smaller and smaller, right? How slowly that just kind of melts into the skin. That's because my skin was really well hydrated. I used my Screen Queen ultraviolet SPF. I actually got a new one. I really love it. think I've put it, I think it's upstairs in my bathroom, so I can't show it to you, but I'll put it in the description below. It's the ultralight fluid in a little pipette with a sort of pink and blue packaging. It's really nice, Australian. Do like Australian SPFs. Anyway, I'm going off the subject. I used that so my skin was just really, really soft. If you were to put as much concealer as I have done on my skin, you're going to really find that it sits on the surface and becomes obvious. And if you do get to that stage where you are putting your foundation on and you've done lots of moisturiser, you're still seeing like sort of fragments of skin, or the makeup is appearing obvious, it's because you need to exfoliate. I cannot tell you how important exfoliate is. Whether you do it daily with just a very soft AHA, or you use something like the Exfoliate or the Baby Facial from Drunk Elephant. Those are my favourites, and they are expensive, but they do just make a huge amount of difference. So as I've been babbling on, you can see how that's melted in. Now, I didn't take the concealer right up to my eyes there. Try and avoid taking it too close to your lashes on application, because it will spread. But if you take too much concealer right up to your lashes, you will make your eyes very small, but also you'll have a lot of product that will sit under the lower lashes, and you don't want that, and you'll end up kind of removing it away or kind of getting a few little creases. So that's another little tip to remember. But I'm quite happy with that base as it is right now. Let me see, I'm going to use, am I going to go in for powder, or I'm going to go for a bit of a cheek first? I think I'm going to go in for a bit of a cheek first. So this is a really beautiful palette. Look at this, from Pat McGrath. Let me just see what name it is called. Pat McGrath Labs Divine Blush Glow Cheek Palette, Divine Rose. Again, very similar to Hourglass and the NARS one. I do love palettes that have a little bit of definition and then a little bit of pop of colour, and this highlight is so extra. More than I would use, so I'm really going to pat it down and really buff it into my skin. But let me take a slanted brush. So this is my Zoeva 127, and I'm going to take the warmer colour. And again, I haven't powdered my skin, but I think these are soft enough to work into my skin, so I just like to powder right at the end, because I just don't like powder on my skin. It just dries out throughout the day, no matter how much I pump it with hyaluronic. So I'm going to take this brush here, really pushing this in, and I'm just going to carve a little definition just under the cheek here, very subtly, and then bring it round to kind of sculpt this cheek. Okay, and the other side. So if you don't have the indent that I do, you need to kind of use your eyeline to take it from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth and just underneath, not on top. Because with this look that we did, it became very sort of angular, soft but angular, to kind of really give a lift to the face, which is what we wanted. And kind of going in with the hair in that kind of like nice shape like that. So it looks hard at the moment, but that's fine. You just blend, blend, blend. Now I took a little bit of the warmer colour here, not this shade. And which one did I use? That's coming up really poppy. Yeah, it was this one actually, just more neutral. These gave too much of a pop of colour, which gave too much freshness to the look. So I went with something a little bit more muted. So again, with the brush, but not squeezing the brush, okay, I'm going to place the brush straight over, oopsie, it's not very nice for you, is it? Straight over the top, but I'm really, really mixing it in. And that's honestly, it's such a tip, because if you don't push the colour evenly into the brush, that's when you get a little bit of almost like scratching of colour on the front of your face. It just doesn't blend, it doesn't get that softness of colour. And I'm blending that right over the fullness of my cheek. See how the difference, just graduated it more over, but not at the front, but I'm just blending those in so you don't get that stripe. It's very nice. But I'm not going to paint it at the front of my face, because I just wanted that to look really kind of clean and just lifted. So it's more here. And if you do go too far forward, what you can do is just take your concealer, and you've seen me do that before, but you can tidy up you know, the balance of the makeup. I don't want to say the mess of the makeup. You can tidy up the balance of the makeup at the end. So don't panic, just let the colours sit on your face, you know, see how it works with the light, just mush it in. And if you get worried, you can go back with your foundation brush, but again, make sure you haven't got too much and just lightly go over, but don't try and change the pattern of the angle of what you're doing. So don't kind of go in swirly motions. Let's just put a little bit more here. That's a little bit fuller here. I could do with it a little bit of height. There we are. God, it's so subtle, isn't it? Just so quick. Just makes that difference. And then blend that through. Now, I'm going to take this look. I'm going to show you how. See, that is really, really sheeny. And that's quite a lot for me, and I don't like it to look that lit or that sort of painted. I like it to look like skin. So I'm going to take my Spectrum KHJ. This is the 08 one. This is a nice soft fluffy brush. Again, I'm going to just pop the tip in, and then I'm just going to bash it all off so I can be really delicate with it and just catch the top of that. You see how beautifully that catches, but just over the top of those colours, so it kind of just like really lifts those shades. But it's not like it's a stripe in it on its own, and that's what's key. It's just nice to kind of blend those in. I feel that side is slightly darker. I'm not sure whether that's the light though. Let me just work that in there. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute, but that's working nicely. Right, I'm going to finish off my brow, or not even finish off my brow, add to my brow. Probably needs a little bit of a pluck, but that's fine. We're going with the Indian Chocolate. Like this again because the propelling eyebrow pencils, this is Blink Brow Bar. I love this colour, works perfectly with my colouring. But it just means that I can add a little bit of depth, but not too much. Especially here. I did have a few hairs put in there, but I think they've faded slightly. There we are. I think you have to have a touch up every sort of couple of years, I think. I'll have to ask Miriam. I think it lasts quite a while, but that looks a bit softer there, but I don't mind because I'm happy to fill it in. Right, so there we are. Might even do the lip next. Let me do the lip next. Again, it's Pat McGrath. It's called Nude Venus. Look at this. Really beautiful packaging. God, I love these lipsticks. I love these lipsticks, but that's nice with the pink, isn't it? Because they just go on so beautifully. Look at that shade. So nice with a pink top. But again, if you didn't neutralise your base and you've got skin like mine, it would just pick up on all your imperfections. But if you've got a nice base, that's just giving me a bit of balance, isn't it? Against my eyes. Oh, it's creamy. Creamier than the other ones I've had actually. But that same kind of satin texture. I like it because I can build my lips up and it doesn't move and they stay put. But these, the Pat McGrath ones and the Lisa Eldridge ones are the ones that I find, not the more hydrating ones with Lisa's ones, but the more matte ones, I just find them so featherweight on the skin. Well, that's not a perfect shape, so I'll just finish off with my Wonder Gel liner from Beauty Pie. This shade is Vanilla Nude. Just move my mirror to slightly obscure the screen. And I'm going to do it on the side. Try not to do the tip because then you get a skinny line. Go on the side, especially if you've got lips like mine. What's happening there? You can see a little bit of a bump. Don't know whether that's my face. Another war wound. There we are. Just rounding that out. Well, that's a really good match. Now, because I've got quite a strong base on, I am going to have to go back in where I've rubbed my lip there and just touch that area up there, because you can really see the imperfect skin, well, not imperfect, but the irregular tones under my skin popping through. And with this look, I want it to be perfect. That's better, isn't it? Oh, this is such a nice lipstick if you love a nude. It's a warm nude. But if you're shopping for a nude lipstick, don't go in with just like a tinted moisturiser in. I think a nude lipstick, something like this, you know, as well as like a bright red, they just need base on. They just need a good, perfect skin to kind of look as you want them to look, because they do pull out the undertones of your skin. Lovely. All right, so let's get on with the look. I'll take a couple of brushes like this and a smudgy one. I'm going to use a palette that many of you might have, and this is the Naked 2 by Urban Decay. And I particularly like this palette, one because it's got the black in, which is really handy for shaping, but it's got lots of warm colours, even this kind of like Shelly colour, but it's got your classic browns, it's got the mattes, it's got the metallics, but it's also got a really nice cool section. So it's great for the kit because I've got sort of both colour families in there. And for this particular look, we went a bit cooler, not browner. So I sort of used these in between these two shades. And what we wanted to do was kind of create a little bit of depth first, and then just a wash over the eye, but not making the eyeshadow too much, and just lifting with the eyeliner, so it just kind of lifted her eyes. Now, I don't have eyes like Kylie. My eyes are much more crinkly on the outside, and if you look through a lot of my looks, I don't do a lot of eyeliner looks simply because I just can't take them, because my eyes, the skin around my eyes is too soft. It's not like it used to be, like up like that. I guess I could take my face and I could show you, but or I could get some people in, and I'm really sorry about that. And I know that it would be really much more interesting if I got lots of people in, and I will do. I just so that you understand, I never really know when I'm working, and jobs can come in like 24 hours in advance. You can be optioned for lots of things all the time. Some things come off, some things come on. So you never really know. So if I organise someone's time and then have to cancel, it all becomes like another palaver. So I'm sorry about that. If it was my full-time job doing this, then I would definitely organise that. But I will endeavour to try and get some people in to show you a little bit more variety. Right, so I'm going to go in with Tease first of all, because this is just a neutral shade. And I use the tip of the brush. Now this is number 234 Luxe Zoeva. So what I'm trying to do is just push back and create a socket very, very gently. Again, another tip is, if you're not sure where your socket is, it's just to put your shoulders, elbows on the table and tip your head back. And that will just give you a better, clearer version of idea of where to put your socket line, because if you look in the mirror like this, then you try and draw your socket, you're probably going to end up drawing it higher, right? So you don't want to do that, because then it just ends up being up the top here. So I'm going to take this brush and just push that backwards and forwards. You want to get it right in the indent, really, so that when you brush it out, and you can see now, when you brush the pigment out and spread it onto your skin, then you just kind of get a wash of colour, and already you can see how that lifts the eye. It's super, super soft. Really nice colour against this pink, if you like the wishy-washy vibes. Today I'm feeling like that, but at least got a nice punch of colour on my nails. What colour is this actually? Oh, don't tell me that's gone for a walk as well. Anyway, for those of you who love me and know me, know that I'm not the most organised. No, I correct myself, I am organised, and just in a very chaotic way. I'll list it in the description box. It's Nails Inc. I just love their colours, and they last. And the lady who owns the company, Thea Green, is just an absolute delight. It was a bit like Marcia, who I met through Beauty Pie. When we first met, I'm not sure whether many of you know this, but she helped me with my tummy because I have loads of like, you know, bloated, gutty issues, you know, blah, blah. Anyway, a couple of years ago, it was really bad before I sort of started taking Simprove and doing other things to help. And she personally reached out to give me some help. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much, as if you're not busy enough. And I was like, all right, whatever you want, I'm there to help you. And that's how our relationship started. Right, okay. There we go. So that was the basics. So over that, I then wanted to create a nice wash so that when the lights of the paparazzi's cameras flashed, I had a nice sheer sort of metallic finish to it. So I did a couple of strokes of, if you've got this palette, YDK, and then a couple of strokes of Verve, which is the more silvery one. And then I sort of mixed it together, so you get two tones, and then just took it across and literally over the socket and just literally up to the brow, but basically making that shade there very, very light towards the brows. It's not so 80s. I haven't got a really big sort of hood of colour there, because that would literally kind of overtake the eye, especially with all that flash. So you've got to think about that if you're a working makeup artist, where you're applying the colour. So again, one stroke in each shade. So I've got a nice double tone of product, and then just taking it all over the eye, up and over that socket. And then maybe what you want to do is just take a nice clean blending brush and then just make sure that it just does feather out. But you're kind of working in this shape. So let's take, well, oh for goodness sake, Caroline, I should have taken my tool. So let's see, let's take the cotton bud. Let's see how this works just even with the eyeshadow. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just to help us along. I'm going to take a little bit, so I've got a little bit of a watery eye there. Anyone else got watery eyes? Not any allergy or anything, just a bit drippy from the cold. So that is a really great start for you to do. That's the same concealer that I used before. So that can be your sort of like guide, your visual guide. Remember, keep it like sort of 5mm underneath your lower lash line. Then you want to take, where do we want to go? I want to sort of go, it's a funny shape though, you think you want it to be straight. Maybe we'll do it that way around. Yeah, I feel like I'm loving that sort of shape more. And let's take the lighter one, and then we'll just bring that out and just push it along there. Yeah, that works. Probably a little low, I think. Let's take it on this side, the side that I haven't done, and let's see how that works. Close my eye, take the colour over. Even if you sort of use this just for a moment, just to kind of see how the shape works, that's better, isn't it? What's great about it is that you can put it under and it actually stops the eyeshadow from falling down, which is good. So it kind of protects your skin. Let's go back to that one again. But it probably just gives you an idea of how your eye would look with that. Especially if you've got eyes like mine. That's a really nice balance. So I'll go back with the concealer. I don't have a concealer brush there. And just balance that, although this side is not as red as the other one, so I don't need it too much. And blend that in. But that's a really nice shape on both eyes. I mean, you know, you could use a piece of paper. You don't want to necessarily have to buy one of these tools. I just picked it up from Amazon. But it's soft and it's silicone-y, so it's kind of easy to manipulate. I think you can also use it like for a lip line as well. Maybe if you've got glasses and it's tricky for you to kind of see what you're doing or you're not confident, I think it's a really good tool. And then once you get confident, you can see where your colour should go. The tip of the brow just to there. All right, so wanted to get this lift, which I might just use this actually again. Let's have a little play. So I wanted to have a lift, and I just used the lift on the outer side. So I'm going to use a very soft kohl pencil. I'm going to use the Max Factor one. Just going to bring it in a little closer without disturbing there. Maybe go in with a bit of a magnifying. Woohoo! And I'm going to push this very soft kohl just to the outer third of my eye, to the lash line, almost to where, just before 2 or 3 of the lashes finish, just on the outer side. Now I'm going to wedge it in and I'm blending it into the lash line, okay? So this kind of look works really well, funny enough, if you've got eyes like mine, where they're a little bit bumpy, a little bit crepey, but they also aren't smooth and they don't have that proper lift. And then maybe we'll go in, let's just see how this works. So I want to get that nice lift there. So I'm going to push firmly and then go along and use that as a guide, just to kind of push that in there to give me that little bit of a lift. And what that will do is that will stop you from taking it too far. So you always have that little bit of a lift now. So I've got that layer there and I want to catch it there. So I'm going to dot it because obviously my skin's not even. Very nice. Okay, now I'm going to take a little brush, a stubby brush. This is a 322 from, again, Zoeva. And I'm going to place it into the black. All right, so place it into the black, tip down, really quite firmly. Let's get our tool again. And I'm going to push it just almost in balance with that, creating a nice feline flick all the way down, but that's going to create the lift. Nice. Stretch the skin. You see how that's looking now? I'm pushing the black just into the outer little bit. Now you'll see, if my eye was more of this shape and more open, you'd get that beautiful feline flick. As you can see, I mean, that's obviously exaggerating, but hey, let's laugh with it. With a bit of mascara, that will give a little bit of a lift. The trick is, take a little bit of micellar water and a clean bird. This is Dr. Sam's cleansing water, which I have to say I really, really like. She's a skin doctor based in London, and she actually really helped me do lots of, not lots, but we kind of worked together to create this sort of information film on like what to do with your skin when it reacted at the beginning of COVID. Anyway, she's a lovely lady. Right, so what you need to do is make sure that this doesn't go too, because you can see what can happen, right? That's what you want to avoid. So you take your micellar water and then you stretch it, and you stretch it, and you stretch it. Lovely. Take the powder in. You can see where it's not connecting there. It's got to connect really well into there and feather down. You see? So you don't want it to be an abrupt stop. This is why these brushes are so good, because I'm wedging that brown into there. Now for someone with, I do have a hooded eye. I know a lot of you are saying, please can we have ladies with hooded eyes, which is sort of more like that. I don't have that, but I'm still very soft on the outside. So when I put mascara on that, let's just do mascara on that one. I'm going to use, you can either use a little bit of lashes as well, but I'm just going to use the push-up lashes from Tilbury, because I like the fact that I can really get a lift on the outer corner of my lashes with the mascara, more than I can do with any other mascara. Well, unless I have a mascara with that nice bare wand that I can get that mascara really bang into the roots of the lashes so I can create the lift. And for me, for my eye shape, and for anyone who's sort of doing this kind of wing, see what you've got to be careful is just make sure it doesn't come down at all. So it's creating a little shadow just there. So everything has to be super clean. And I'm going to keep it quite top heavy. Lifting, lifting, lifting. So I've still got that wing, I've still got that softness, but it's sort of on the outer side. But then if I look down, look around, when I'm sort of chatting, then you still get that finish. And the beautiful picture Kylie was taken from the side with a lovely kind of wing shape, but she's got different eyes to me. But that was the idea of the makeup, just like soft and subtle, but really like super stylish. And obviously we've all got different faces and different eyes, so I just thought it was really different to kind of show you the thought process behind it. Okay, so let's go ahead on this side without the tool, and I'm just going to stretch this again just a little bit shy of those lashes. Take the really fantastic brush that you can put the black in and then bury that in there, and then take the line up and stretch the line up to my socket, which looks lovely when it's all then it goes pew, pings back. Soften that through the kohl, don't worry, it will all work in place. And just taking that black, as I said, so you don't get an abrupt finish, to get that nice softness but it's not hard. So just placing that there. You see, you can just use the brush to place it where the imaginary flick would be, and then pull the skin and then bring it down. Now obviously it appears much longer, but again you have to take into consideration when it collapses back. I don't mean that in a bad way. So it becomes like a mini flick. So if you have, you know, great strong eyes like that, you can copy exactly what I've done, but obviously that one would be too long. That's a little bit shorter, that one. So you could kind of just bring that a little bit more, turn the brush around and just bring it out. And it's just super soft with that shadow, and then you get the lovely density of the kohl. So you want to just flick that through just to get that softness, making sure that it doesn't come down in any way. Nice. And then it ties the look all together when you have the liner, sorry, the mascara, and lots of mascara, and we're just going to keep the mascara really top heavy and really working the shape of your lashes. You see where I'm pulling them just in line with the liner, and it's subtle, but then when I look down and I'm kind of more expressive and kind of in the sunlight, you get the nice shape, and it becomes, you know, just a little bit more sexy and sophisticated and more stylish and simple. But it still looks really modern because you just kind of haven't overdone the rest of the makeup. Just got my little fan brush here and fan these lashes just a little bit lower rather than all over the place. And again, just for safety, we'll take the micellar water and just really delicately lift that on the edge so that I don't have any fall down there. And then when she was all put together, looking good. Okay, I will need to do a tiny bit of powder. I'm going to use my By Terry Hyaluronic, which I've loved for years. This is the loose form. It's really not fair if I don't show you the powder, does it? I need to really improve on my sales skills. Good Lord. And I also need to turn this mirror around because I am seeing myself far too close. Let's just see that concealer works very well on the old pigmentation. Let's just come back a little bit more so I get a bit more perspective on it. So it's around, it's slightly pink, this brush, but it's just a stain I can't remove. It's super clean. Just in that area to knock it back. And then you get the nice sheen. That sheen is so delicate, very candlelit. And if you're feeling like you haven't quite mastered your top lip, just a little bit of powder over the top. Just so it kind of softens it. And then you can go back in again. Because it's so nude. You really want to get a nice clean line to differentiate between the lip and the skin. See how much better that is? The sun's come out, and now, because my skin has literally eaten the blush. So I've got some faces like that. There'll be some models that you can do, and you put their makeup on in the morning and it just does not move, and then some people's complexions just munch the makeup and you're kind of constantly applying it. Just do a little bit of warmth there. Lovely. Great. So there is our inspired look. It's really not helpful, is it? Just bear with me one moment. There we are. Oh. Right. And so thank you for that. Actually, all the comments on the lights made me feel much more confident about having my crazy light and not a kind of full-on studio look. So let me just bring this camera slightly up, and so we can kind of see full look. A little bit of light around there. Great. So there she is. So simple, stylish, really, really elegant, and it goes beautifully with a little black dress. If you've tried it and you love it and you've picked up some tips, please do let me know down below. It makes my day. All right, bye for now.